So I'm going to begin first this video in telling you that this video is not going to be about Andrew Tate. All right? Let me start that from the outset. This video is going to be about the two witnesses versus the powers of this world. Okay? Now to get started, I'm going to talk a little bit about Andrew Tate and how he got in trouble with the powers that be that he calls the Matrix. I never watched the movie. I don't watch movies, okay? So I don't know what the movie The Matrix is about. Maybe you do, maybe you watch movies. But 4 days ago, Pearl, on Just Pearly Things, and I noticed, because I listened to her dialogues with women trying to turn women's hearts back from being the modern woman to the more traditional woman. She's telling women that they shouldn't even vote. They should be submissive. And mostly to black women. But she's, talking to all women. And she recently had podcast YouTube videos with Andrew Tate and a bunch of women. I'm no fan of Andrew Tate, but he got caught up in the crosshairs of the elite establishment. And I'll explain to you why he got caught up in it. And he even predicted the 3 strikes. He predicted that they would first shut him down on the internet, and they did. All social media platforms has banned him. Everybody knows this. Then he predicted in advance that they were going to arrest him on trumped-up charges. Well, they arrested him yesterday. And then the 3rd strike was going to be he would be suicided. And I have made comments in the past about government-assisted suicides. I mean, there have been plenty of that going on among the Russian tycoons lately. Being helped out of the window onto the ground, that kind of thing. He predicted he would be Epsteined. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a little background on how Western civilization started this, as they call, the Matrix, whatever that means. Number 1, governments of Western civilization have for the past 100 plus years, been dividing the people by race and by gender. Even the United States. Do we not all agree that this has been going on? Can we agree on this? Of course. This is not hard to understand, folks. By gender and by race to enslave the masses in a very big way. Now, a lot of people will say, wait a minute now, it was to provide us more freedom. That's what they tell you. But that's not what the truth is. The truth is in the following statements that I'm going to make here. So number 2, they sent women out into the workforce to extract more wealth from the population via income and productivity. Number 3, but as automation began to be more prevalent, the need of the human workforce becomes less and less important, doesn't it? I'm getting noises coming from the speaker. Now, Number 4, then the established elites think they need to start culling the population. And quite frankly, now, the Industrial Revolution started even before slavery was abolished in the 1800s. You had the cotton gin. You had the steamboats. Then you had the harvesters, pulled by or run by a horse. This is when the Industrial Revolution began. So, here's how they start culling populations. A, by eugenics. The idea of eugenics began in the United States of America, as I pointed out in several videos that I did about a year ago. How America taught the Nazis they taught the Nazis to commit crimes against humanity vis-a-vis the Holocaust, the Shoah. Eugenics. You have the Tuskegee experiment. You had hundreds and hundreds of examples. And if I can find it, maybe I'll put the link in, if I can remember what the book was, that Edwin Black is the author. He is a Jewish fellow, and he does point out that it was the United States of America and their ideas of eugenics that the Germans gleefully borrowed from. In order to murder the Jews. And I put other in here. And the reason why I put other in here is because whenever I talk about other, YouTube blocks video. It has to do with your health. And those of you who are intelligent enough, you'll know exactly what I mean. So Andrew Tate yesterday got arrested by the EU, and I say EU for good reason, because Romania is an EU country, and the EU countries all are accountable, they all answer to the EU. Why? Because he made a lot of money on platforms pointing these very facts out. He did. Now, I point these facts out, and nobody watches. Folks, let me explain something to you. If you're on YouTube or any other channel, and your mantra is telling the truth, you should never, ever, ever monetize. You shouldn't. So he became a threat to, as he said, the Matrix. As a result, he got millions and millions and millions of followers, as you see right here. I don't know who this dude is, but he calls himself goat-minded. And it says right here, the Matrix don't want you to know this, Andrew Tate. So he goes and he takes video from Andrew Tate's platform and puts it on his, and look at the amount of views that he received in 2 months. 1.3 million. Yes, the guy is very, very, very popular among the people. But the two witnesses are going to be very, very, very unpopular among the people. Let's continue with... okay, so made a lot of money on the platform pointing these facts out. People by the millions began to believe these facts, and that became a threat to what he calls the Matrix. So they canceled him on all internet platforms. That was strike one. He flipped the Matrix off and exposed what their next move would be, and he most certainly did, which is jail. That's strike two. He also predicted strike three, Matrix-assisted suicide. He did. Okay? But the Matrix existed long before the Industrial Revolution. This is what I'm saying. Long, long, long ago. In fact, it began when Yehoshua was raised from the dead. Let me go ahead and get started with that. See if I can memorize Jonah 14, I do believe. I'm trying to train myself to memorize more and more of these scriptures. Hope I can pull this off. I believe it's this one. Right. Verse 30. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, and he's talking to the disciples, because the prince of this world comes. When he left, the prince of this world came, and he has nothing in me. Now, so we go to Revelation 12, I believe. The prince of this world came when he was raised from the dead. And there appeared a great wonder in the sky, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Not to be confused with the EU. The EU thinks that they are spiritual Israel with their fake crown of 12 stars. See? This is the fake crown of 12 stars. Count them up. You'll see it has every marker on the clock. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, all the way to 12 stars. Okay? They are frauds. They are fakes. They are the counterfeit, the EU. Right? Israel is the one with the crown of 12 stars. And Israel, being with child, travailed in birth in the form of Miriam, not Mary. I will point out today to you some names that have been totally screwed up, and you'll begin to see how the quote-unquote Matrix deceived the whole world. Even replacing the names of Miriam, Yehoshua, and even the disciples. I'll show you. And there appeared another wonder in the sky, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon the heads. And as I pointed out, the 7 heads are the, what do you call that? The Julio-Claudius dynasty. The 10 horns are 10 kings that rose up in Europe just before the man at the Vatican did. And 7 crowns upon the heads of the 7 horns. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of the sky. We know that that is the messengers. People call them angelos, angels. I do not. And did cast him to the earth. And the dragon, so if he cast, well, okay. And the dragon stood before the woman in the form of that half-breed, Edomite, Herod, or Herodias, which was ready to be delivered for her to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule the Gentiles with a rod of iron. Not Israel. He would rule the Gentiles with the rod of iron. The Gentiles, as distinct from Israel, means he's going to beat them with the rod of iron. And her child was called up to Jehovah, not to God, and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared by Jehovah, not God, to feed her there for 1,260 days. That is 3.5 years. This is a summary of beginning when Yehoshua was born and when Israel is saved from their enemies. That's what that is. Now he goes more descriptive here. See, this is a summary right here. And this is more descriptive. There was a war in the sky. When? After Yehoshua was taken to Jehovah's throne. And Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon, or Draco, and the Draco fought and his messengers, and Draco prevailed not. Neither was there any place found any more in the sky or near Jehovah's throne for them. So he was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil, and Shaitan is the correct way to say it, which deceives the whole world, and he was cast to the earth. This is where the Matrix began his work. Soon after Yehoshua was taken to the throne of Jehovah, and his messengers were cast out with him, his demons. And I heard a loud voice saying in the sky, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Elohim, and the power of his Moshiach came to the sky, came to the throne of Jehovah. The accuser of the brethren is not cast, let's see if it's cast down, is laid prostrate, is struck down, not struck down to the earth, but struck down. But he is struck down on the earth, and what does he do? Pardon me in my lack of eloquence here, folks. I try my best. And I heard a loud voice, okay, I was just there, which accused, the accuser of our brethren, which is cast down, which accused them before Elohim day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. That would be the 12 disciples. And Paul. And those who followed them. The word of their testimony. And they did not love their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice you to live in the sky, and those that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the Mediterranean Sea. This probably means woe unto the inhabitants of the Arets of Israel and the Mediterranean Sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows. It does not say he has a short time. He holds a well, it can mean great or a few. Of a certain affinity, in extent, degree, number, duration, or value, especially neuter. A little or long season. What it means is his time is no longer infinite. At that point, his time is finite, limited. Okay? So that should be helpful to understand here. And when Draco saw that he was cast into the should be Arets, the earth, he persecuted Israel. How did he do it? It began with Caligula, one of the several anti-Moshiachs that Yonah was talking about. Was it second Yonah? And what he did was he ordered the graven image of Jupiter or Deuspiter or Zeus as himself to be placed in every synagogue, including the temple in Jerusalem. Exactly what Antiochus IV did, thereby setting the table for the destruction of Jerusalem the way Antiochus IV did. But he didn't do the destruction of Jerusalem. One who came after him did. Nero apparently was the beast with the deadly wound because he was found in Greece, and Galba, I believe it was, took care of him, finally killed him after he was found. He had supposedly, there are some stories claim that he committed suicide. Some people claim that somebody else killed him, or that he faked a suicide, or he faked being killed. Anyway, I'm not going to go in depth into that because that is not as important as what I'm going to talk about today. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle. This is a figure of speech, but it's also realistic. She literally did fly. She literally will fly, and you will see that in Isaiah 60, verse 7, 8, and 9, on ships of Tarshish. Isaiah points out that he sees them flying on ships of Tarshish. That she might fly. That's right, fly. And you Christians, you call that the rapture of Christianity, of the church. When I pointed out to you yesterday that you church people, you seek your own sign and you seek your own narrative. Into the wilderness, her place that once was a wilderness, where she will be nourished for times and a half a time, away from the face of the serpent, away from the Euros. So the serpent casts out his mouth as a flood, mouth of water as a flood, after the woman, which is an army. and he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. That is essentially Ezekiel 38 and 39. Okay? And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remainder of her seed, which have the commandments of Jehovah and have the testimony of Yehoshua Moshiach. These are the two witnesses. That's right. The two witnesses. You see, the previous chapter talks about them. And there was given unto me a reed like unto a rod, and a messenger stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of Jehovah, when the temple was still there, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is outside the temple, cast it out, banish it. And measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And they will tread down the holy city for 42 months, 3.5 years. And in retaliation, at the very time of the end, he's going to give power unto his two witnesses, and they will prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two lampstands standing before the Elohim of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeds out of their mouth. Exactly what happened when Elijah called fire down from the sky, which killed two groups of 50 soldiers and their captains. I believe it was their captains. Yep. And that fire will devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must be in this manner be killed. They have the power to shut the sky that it rain not in the days of their prophecy. And I have been trying to tell people who call themselves my friend, they're not. If you do not listen to these words, if you do not study the scripture and come to this conclusion, you are not my friend. Three and a half years of no rain. There will be nobody left when all the plagues of the two witnesses and all the 7 last plagues come. There will be nobody left in these lands. Everybody will be forced to go and see Jehovah the King and his prince, Yehoshua ben David. Some will go the easy way, and some will go the hard way. And to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they wished. And when they will finish the testimony that the beast that sits in the Mediterranean Sea, you know what beast that is? Rome. That ascends out of not the bottomless pit, but the Mediterranean Sea, shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, the mega city. Jerusalem was never a mega city. And if you bother to read the words of Jonah here, you will plainly see he added a riddle that you Christians will never be able to unravel. which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Moshiach was crucified, or was fenced with stakes. Now, he was fenced with stakes outside the city walls of Jerusalem, so he was not in Jerusalem. Rome killed him. Rome is Sodom and Egypt. And they of the people, and of the kindreds and the tongues of the Gentiles, shall see their dead bodies, lay 3.5 days, and shall not allow the dead bodies to be put in graves, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. What I'm saying is, you the Gentiles, you are the matrix. You are the ones who chose delusion. And you followed the matrix willingly. You followed the lies willingly. Even Paul told Timothy that you were going to do this, and he told them this at about the same time that Satan was cast down on the earth. Let's see if I can find it here. Verse 3, for the time will come when they, and first of all, this word is not, his name is not Jesus, never was. It is Yehoshua, not Jehoshua contracted to Joshua and formed in the mirror image of some Greek. No. Or some Roman. No. Or some Englishman. No. If Jehovah is the same yesterday, today, and forever, so is his name. If Yehoshua is the same yesterday, today, and forever, then so is his name. So his name is not Jesus. I'll get into more of these names in just a minute here, as soon as I get done with this particular scripture that I pointed out yesterday. For the time will come when they, who is they? Who was Paul? He was apostle to the Gentiles. Will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust they shall heap to themselves their own teachers. It says having itching ears, to scratch their ears. So they're going to heap to themselves teachers that will scratch their ears. In other words, who will tell them what they want to hear. Seminaries are filled with those preachers. Mosques are filled with those preachers. Monasteries are filled with those preachers who tell people what they want to hear. And they, the people and the teachers, shall turn away their ears from the truth, and they will turn to fables. Santa Claus is a fable. There is no such thing as a fat old man sliding down a chimney. It's a lie. It's a fable. Rabbits do not lay eggs. It's a fable. But they've done worse. They've done worse. Matthew. His name is not Matthew. His name is Matityahu, meaning gift of Jehovah or gift of Yah. James, the Apostle James, his name is not James, it's Jacob. You see what they did? Do you see what they did? They changed everything to make sure that you would never understand. To make sure that you would follow Satan, the matrix, all the way to the bitter end. And that is the reason, folks, I'm not a threat to the matrix. Because you'll never believe me. You, the people, will never believe me. There might be five or six, maybe, possibly. I know of one, personally. But the matrix, I'm not a threat to it. Because the matrix, Satan, the devil, has got you brainwashed completely. Now, when somebody steps outside the line and starts convincing people, making money off of it, and only convincing people to a certain extent, because the message that I'm telling you is about the salvation of Israel and the new covenant for Israel. What Andrew Tate, all he's doing is pointing out, he pointed out basically these facts right here that I just pointed out, okay? And making tons of money on it. But if he were to go into the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, the people who followed him, who gave him money, would suddenly abandon him as if he is the devil himself. So, in my final statement here, when the Matrix finally does kill the two witnesses, because you see, the two witnesses will be sent to challenge the Matrix and bring all Israel home on the wings of a great eagle. The two witnesses will order the ground to stop growing crops. You see, rain is necessary for everything to grow. When there is no rain, nothing can grow. And when nothing can grow, people start dying. Production stops. And money is lost. Power is lost. But these people of the Gentiles are so brainwashed. The brainwashing is so complete, as I say it again, that they will never believe anything on my YouTube channel. It just won't happen. So, two witnesses will have to rise up and take the lifeblood away from the people. Water. And then they will turn water into blood and provide the plagues of Moshiach or as often as they will, to force the Matrix to give up the Holy Land and bring all Israel home. Now, if you're going to fight the system, you better do it right. You better not go halfway, and you better not monetize like Andrew Tate did. He went halfway and he monetized. No, you go all the way. No monetization. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. And that is what my goal on this particular YouTube channel is. And that truth is the redemption and the salvation of all Israel, and bringing the new covenant as promised in Jeremiah 31 verses 31 through 34 back to Israel.